All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about one of the biggest, thorniest challenges in the tech world. What do you do when your core systems, the very things your business runs on, start holding you back? We're talking about modernization, but probably not in the way you're used to thinking about it. So you're in this spot, right? It's a classic and frankly, a painful question. Your old system is clunky, it's fragile, and it's stopping you from doing cool new things. So what's the play? Do you tear it all down and rebuild from scratch? Or do you just keep slapping on patches and hope for the best? This is the dilemma that just paralyzes so many organizations. And when you lay it out, you can see why it's such a tough call. Neither option looks all that great, does it? A full rebuild sounds amazing, almost heroic, but in reality, it often means grinding everything to a halt for months, maybe even years. The risk is just immense. On the flip side, patching feels safer in the short term, but it's kind of like a slow death. You're just digging yourself deeper and deeper into technical debt, stuck with old ways of thinking. It really is a lose-lose scenario.
And this right here is what we call the modernization dilemma. You're basically stuck between a rock and a hard place, and you're forced to choose the lesser of two evils.
But what if this isn't the whole story? What if that choice between a massive, risky rebuild and just slowly stagnating, what if that's a false choice? What if there's another option completely?
And that is where we introduce a really fascinating idea, one that's borrowed directly from nature. Let's talk about the Strangler Fig solution. You heard that right. It gets its name from a tree. A strangler fig starts its life on a host tree, and it slowly, methodically grows its roots around it until, over time, it completely replaces that original host. So, in the software world, this means you build your new, modern system around the old one. You do it piece by piece, gradually taking over functions until the old system just isn't needed anymore and you can safely turn it off. So, why is this so darn effective? I mean, it sounds elegant, for sure, but let's break down exactly why this pattern is such a powerful way to think about modernization. First off, and this is a big one, disruption is incredibly low. The business can just keep humming along while you're building in the background. It also lets you experiment safely. You can try out new technology on a small, isolated part of the system without risking the whole thing. You get to see a progressive return on your investment too, because each new piece you add delivers value right away. And crucially, the risk is dramatically lower. If a new module has a problem, no big deal. You just roll it back and use the old one. It's a brilliant way to align your tech changes with your business goals. You make them small, you validate them, and you do it continuously. Okay, so that's the theory, the why. But how does this actually work in practice? Let's walk through the steps. The whole process is actually very methodical. First, you map out your system to find the most painful spots, the most costly or fragile parts. Those are your first targets. Step 2, you build something called an API facade. Now think of this like a smart traffic controller. It sits in front of everything and directs requests to either the old system or a new component. This facade is the absolute key. It lets you intercept traffic and slowly, safely divert it to your new services one little slice at a time. Then you just start replacing those slices. Use feature toggles to safely switch users over to the new stuff and, just as important, switch them back if you need to. Finally, once a new module has proven itself, you can retire the old part for good.
Now, this isn't just some nice idea on a slide. This is a proven strategy. Let's look at a quick real-world example to see the kind of impact we're talking about.
So the company in this story was a network provider that was growing like crazy, but its technology just could not keep up. A full rebuild was on the table, but it would have taken them offline for a year. That was a risk they absolutely could not afford. They were completely stuck. So they used the Strangler Fig Pattern. They started rebuilding the system piece by piece, focusing on critical things like dashboards and integrations first. And the results? They were fantastic. They ended up with consistent business logic and way cleaner data flows. Their security and compliance posture got much, much stronger. And at the end of it all, they had a scalable, modern architecture that was ready for whatever came next. But here it is, the single most incredible result. 0. That's the amount of downtime they had during the entire migration. 0. They modernized their core systems without ever having to turn the lights off. Just let that sink in for a second. This brings us right to the core philosophy behind this whole approach. Most organizations get way too ambitious. They overestimate what they can realistically rebuild in one big bang, and at the same time, they completely underestimate their ability to just evolve what they already have. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that transformation doesn't have to mean disruption. The next time you're staring down that painful choice between a massive rebuild or just patching up the past, remember there's a third way. You can evolve.
Evolve your systems, and in doing so, you'll evolve your entire organization, one steady, stable, and powerful layer at a time.